It is June 10th, 2021. And here we are on It Came From GenX. Back here again by our internet with my co-host, Mike Skinner, a.k.a. Skinbone, Brian Fisher, a.k.a. Fishbone, and they're the bone. I am the whole state, Keith Porter, a.k.a. Porterhouse. And it is good to be here. You guys like that, didn't you? Welcome, everybody, back to our show. I got to tell you guys, I was a little spoiled. It was kind of cool being in the same room together last week. But this is great. It is convenient. And we've kind of gotten used to it, man. We've got a lot of shows under our belt now. What's going on, Fish?
Hey, man. Good week so far. Looking forward to the weekend. It's some nice weather in the forecast. Nice tribute band tomorrow. Playing on that at Fleetwood Mac tribute band downtown Akron. Checking that out.
Okay.
And, maybe hanging out with a backyard movie perhaps this weekend. Awesome. So, yeah, man. Yep.
That sounds good. What's up, Skin?
Oh, just another crazy day at the Skinner Farson house. All the kids were here for dinner tonight, and they
That'll
just
do it,
left.
Won't it?
They just left a few minutes ago. I sent you guys, I think, a picture showing all the kids on the front porch. So it was nice having everybody over for dinner. We had some good laughs, and I excused myself to get ready for the show today.
Yeah, that Motley Crue will do it right there, man. But I appreciate the video they sent me. You got mine back, right?
Yes, they did see
cool.
it. They did see it and saw quite a few smiles on their faces out there.
Great. I'm loving this rainy weather, man. I just love days like this. Rain going, windows are open. I just think it's so serene and very relaxing. And of course, we do need the water. So it is what it is. It's Northeast Ohio. For all we know, it might snow tomorrow. But excited about today's show. Lots of things going on. Our stories are becoming more and more in depth, fellas. I thought last week we hit all-time high as far as the level of intensity of the subject matter. So looking forward to see what we got lined up for everybody else. Want to say hello to our producer, Mike Skinner Jr. out in Washington. Love you, brother. We appreciate you so much. And to our main man, Mr. Christopher Dominic at WMBU.org. I will pass the baton to our man, Fish. Tell us where everybody can find us.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. So you might be listening to us on WMBU.org, Global Internet Radio, streaming Mondays, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. You can listen to us whenever you want to on podcast. Look for us on most major podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Ask your home assistant device to play the It Came From GenX podcast, and she will do that for you. Email the show, It Came From GenX330 at gmail.com. Facebook page, all show information there. Links to our videos, everything, other posts, fun things at It Came From GenX, all one word. Our YouTube channel, It Came From GenX. Look for the rubber duck with the lasers shooting out of its eyes. We are on Twitter. It Came From GenX. You can find us on TikTok, It Came From GenX, and Instagram, It Came From _GenX. All this information I just shared with you as well is packaged very nice and neat in our Linktree account. Simply search Linktree, Linkttre, just how it sounds. It Came From GenX, and then our profile will come up for you. Links to all the pages I just mentioned are right there for you, including the email. So just search Linktree, It Came From GenX, find our profile, and check us out. Like us, subscribe us to us if you like our stuff. Tell a friend if you don't mind, if you like our stuff and think someone may enjoy us out there. Rate and review if you're listening to us on podcasts. It helps others find the show. We all appreciate your support. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben. Now, if you're listening to our show, you probably don't have any friends. So, you know.
Well.
Okay. And you can also find that stuff, too, at the FCC Most Wanted website, too. So, look it up on there.
There you go. Hey, Fish, I want to shout out to your NBA shirt you got there from 1986. That's pretty sweet.
Yes,
yeah,
so
for those
sharp.
that aren't watching, it's Boston Celtics throwback from 1986. That's pretty sweet.
Thank you.
Very sweet. Nice
right
shirt.
around, it was so June 7th, 35 years ago, was the 1986 Boston Celtics championship over the Houston Rockets. So
When guys can play basketball.
Yes, indeed. That was my favorite team in the 80s growing up. Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, probably arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, front court in all of NBA history. The Boston Celtics that year, they acquired Bill Walton, who came off the bench as the sixth man, and they were 40-1 at home that season. Just went on a tear, and unfortunately, the Lakers lost surprisingly to the Houston Rockets with the Twin Towers, Ralph Sampson and Hakeem Olajuwon, and Boston beat the Rockets in 6 games. They had played the Lakers the prior 2 finals consecutively, and then again in 1987, and the Lakers beat Boston that year with injuries and stuff like that. So Boston really wanted the Lakers in that finals to get revenge, if you will, and it could have been a lot different. But that was it. That was Larry Bird's final championship in 1986.
Just hated him. But as I got older, my appreciation for him, truly a great basketball team. And Larry Bird, man, the respect for this uncoordinated, goofy, bad back. The tenacity of this guy was just unbelievable, man. So much respect for him. He competed with some of the greatest players we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Some of the greatest ball handlers, graceful point guards. Of course, Magic reinvented the point guard position. We had never seen a point guard, 6'10", that size, and with hands like that. And man, Larry Bird took a backseat to nobody. So much respect. Robert Parrish, and McHale, the Goon Squad, as I called them. Just tough guys, man. And of course,
don't forget Danny Ainge.
One guy who don't get enough. Danny Ainge is a punk. But anyway, the one guy who don't get enough credit when you talk about NBA history and one of the greatest, K.C. Jones.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that one too, yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, by the way, Keith, so 30, I think it's today, 30, 35 years ago, 34 years ago today was the Magic Johnson hook shot to beat the Boston Celtics in Boston Garden. That was the same night.
The Kareem shot,
Yep, that was the same night we graduated from Kenmore High School, class of 1987, from the Akron Civic Theater. It was that same evening. I remember going to the ceremony.
That's awesome.
And then me and Todd Hammonds and a couple other guys with our ties and stuff got into a bar in downtown Akron. They let us in, and then I watched that game in that bar, our night of our graduation, with a beer. And of course, at the time, I was pretty distraught, but still, that's 34 years ago.
That's amazing. I didn't know that. I was driving around looking for Chris Skinner. So anyway.
Yeah, so, there you go.
Skinbone is rocking a shirt that I don't even know if these guys would be welcome on TV today. I know they're on some stations, but Tom
HBO
and
Max.
Jerry.
HBO Max.
Yeah,
I think they're all there.
Gosh.
I saw this shirt and I said, I gotta have it. Gotta have it for the Arsenal. Yeah.
I love Tom and Jerry because there's certain people in my life who are just like the smoothest crooners of all time, the smoothest ladies men of all time. You've got Alfalfa, the Little Rascals, and Tom from Tom and Jerry. When he played that upright bass and said, "Is you ain't my baby,"
that was a great episode. Great cartoon.
Great episode. Yep. Okay, guys. All right. So you talked about bands. I spent my weekend in the studio with the Diamond Phillips Band, recording my first song with them, and it was great. Went well. I'm excited to hear that, and of course I will be with them June 19th at the Vortex. So come on out, people. And with that, let's get this show rolling.
All right,
Skinbone, take us. World news.
World news. All right. So, do you remember June of 1992? Where were you?
Yeah.
What were you doing back then?
I have some ideas, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do, only because it was my first full 30 days at my first duty station in the United States Air Force, out at McCord Air Force Base, Washington. Wow. I went to basic training in January. I finished my tech school and schooling at the end of May, and I remember driving my little Geo Tracker, 1991 Geo Tracker, brand new.
Oh, piece of
I
crap
bought it
car there,
right before. I tell you what, though, that was one of my favorite cars I ever owned. I took that thing everywhere. It was a 4x4 anyway. And so with my story is this past year, starting June of 21, going back 12 months, the inflation rate soared to a record-breaking 5% yearly increase and it's the highest since August of 2008. The increase was due to used car sales, food cost, furniture, the price of an airline ticket, and apparel. Now, the core inflation, which excludes food and energy costs, cost of gas, things of that nature, rose to a 3.8% inflation rate. Put that in perspective real quick. 5% and 3.8%. Most people that have a 9-to-5 job that get a paycheck, that pay taxes, most of them don't even get a 2% increase yearly.
That's
for
true.
Merit raise.
Yep.
So you've got a 2%. Let's say if everybody gets 2%, 5% increase this year alone. And this 3.8 core was the largest increase since June of 1992. That's why I started this asking, where were you in 1992, the month of June? Because at that time, the previous year, it was the highest rate up until now. Thanks, everybody say, well, thanks COVID. But COVID has done a lot of things to a lot of people, and right now there are people thriving. There are others that are just trying to get back on their feet. So you got both ends of the spectrum. So I did some digging. Price of gas in June of 1992 was $1.13 a gallon. Average around here right now, $2.99 a gallon. The cost for a gallon of milk, and this kind of surprised me, was $2.15 back in June of 1992. And the average price right now is $2.59 here in 2021. So for some reason, milk hasn't inflated much. I didn't expect milk to be that much back then. And a loaf of bread, here's where another one. The average loaf of bread back in 92 was $1.29 a loaf. Right now, the average is $2.49. So my question is, go ahead. Yeah, you've got your Acme brand, which is our local here in Northeast Ohio. You can buy the Acme brand bread for 99 cents, but if you get a loaf with, say, Schwabel's or Wonder, one of those other ones, you're going to pay anywhere from $2.50 to $2.75 for a loaf of bread. So, what are your thoughts on this? What you guys, what do you see has caused this? Everybody's going to be quick to blame COVID, which I think it has something to do with it, but I don't know that it's all of it. Porter, what do you got? I see you shaking your head there a little bit.
Okay, well, first of all, I would address what you were talking about, the inflation, which I'm assuming you're talking about cost of living rate.
Yes.
And then you were talking about people getting their raises around 2%. Of course, this is one of the biggest, I don't want to say tricks, but this is a lot of your average working class didn't understand when they were getting 2.5%, 3% raises. And then there was cost of living effect that was way above that. And they didn't understand. They're still behind the 8 ball, even with their raise. You had a lot of unions holding out and settling for, well, we got a 3% raise. Yeah, but cost of living went up, blah, 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 blah. So this was always a big issue. I think we're about to see a lot more of this going on right now. I think it's going to be after effects of COVID. I don't want to get political, but I think it's going to be a lot to do with our current government right now. Listen, I can't argue with facts. I saw a lot of people project what was going to happen during the Biden administration, and so far, the playbook's been happening. Far as fuel prices and things like that. So I went to Rocky's twice this week to get a chicken salad, and both times they were out of wings, and the guy told me there was a chicken shortage going on. So I think right now we're about to see, this is a tip of the iceberg. There's going to be a lot of this going on because you said it's not all COVID, but it's things linked to COVID. Well, COVID came. That means the stimulus checks came. That means people aren't working.
Yep.
And now we have a shortage. So I think there's a chain reaction going on, and we're going to see a few more after effects of this. Fish?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think that's certainly a part of it. And with COVID, people are now starting to get back out there. So now I'm getting back out to more of the public settings. I have to go back to work. I have to go get some clothes. Maybe I had to get some clothes because maybe I gained some weight during COVID. I don't know. There's a lot of factors. People are out buying stuff again. And like you said, the stimulus certainly is a factor there too. So yeah, I think we'll see this here for a little while. I don't think that I see people hiring everywhere, but they're also, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. And again, but why do I want to work at a place that I'm making less money that I could make or need to make on stimulus and all that? So it's going to be a little while until those benefits kind of run out and things will kind of stabilize again, and then certainly, gas is, people are driving again. I mean, there's factors there with supply, demand, all kinds of different stuff. So, yeah, I think, like you say, I think it's going to have this ripple effect for quite a while until things stabilize. Yeah, most certainly. Yep.
Yeah, I see it in two different things. When we were in Florida a few weeks ago in April, we were talking about getting back to Florida as soon as we can. So I started looking at airfare while we're in the Orlando airport to come home. And the price for one ticket round trip was more than what we paid for all three of our tickets for April's. So it would have cost us 3 times as much to go back in December, which is where we're looking to go, than it was for us to go down in April. And that was just mind-boggling. But I understand at the same time is they've taken a hit. The airline industry has taken a hit over the last, let's say, 16, 17 months now, that they are going to do everything they can to try to recuperate some of these losses that they have. So my suggestion to those that are out listening to us, airfare, gas prices, anything that's out there, try to hold off a little bit. I know it's not easy because we've been cooped up in our houses and been stationary for so long.
What about the trucking industry?
Yeah, that's another one.
And then then the shipping industry, because you're talking about traveling through international waters, trades, this and that, whatever. All those restrictions that we had, those effects are going to get felt.
Yeah, and they have been felt. So, like I said, if somebody's wanting to go on that vacation, if they can hold off just a little bit to try to see if those prices are going to come back down again, that's just a recommendation. But yeah, I don't see it.
He's in Jamaica.
Right. I don't see this getting any better till probably early next year, unfortunately. So, all right. My next story, and this came out as of June 9th. The Senate passed almost a 3-2 count in the country of El Salvador, down in South America. They are the first country in the world to accept the Bitcoin as a form of currency along with the US dollar. And then this new law takes effect here in 90 days. Thought it was interesting that because we've talked about Bitcoin and Fish has talked a little bit about the NFTs and things of that nature. But the Bitcoin's been around for a while, and it took kind of a hit here recently. At least we thought they did. But here we got El Salvador putting it into law that they will accept that as a currency along with the US dollar, other than I think they use the peso, if I'm not mistaken. So they've got the peso as their national currency, but they also accept the American dollar and Bitcoin. I wondered your guys' thoughts on that one. I thought it was a very interesting thing.
Well, I don't want to come off as conspiracy theorist, but I firmly believe this is an experiment. Seriously, very seriously, I think this is just an experiment. I mean, why would a place like El Salvador be the first one to do this? You would think that if this had any teeth, a major economy would be the first one to do it. I think this is an experiment to set up for a one monetary system and a cashless society. So I really believe that El Salvador is a testing ground to see how this would work.
Interesting thought.
I think aliens have taken over the world, and they're slowly rolling out these things, little by little. Little by little. You got Bitcoin, you got NFTs, you got I don't know, you got Justin Bieber. You know, it's all it's all
coming together.
It's all
maybe we
the
Kardashians.
UFOs. More UFOs. That's truth. Yep.
Maybe we need the X-Files to come back.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's just changing times. I don't know. Maybe El Salvador thinks that they're trying to get ahead of the game, and maybe they can appeal to, who knows? Maybe people invest their money over there in Bitcoin. Maybe they get some tourism. I don't know. It is interesting though. It's why El Salvador is one of the first to do it.
But El Salvador, come on.
I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to get more investments over there, or businesses to invest, and who knows? It is interesting though.
We'll have to keep an eye on this. Maybe 6 months from now, we'll see if they're still the only one doing this. I'd like to see who's going to follow the lead with this.
Yep. This isn't James Harden moves to El Salvador. Plays for the El Salvador something. I don't know. Generals, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, fellas. That's all I got for today.
That's good stuff, man. Thanks a lot.
Interesting.
Okay. In the world of pop culture, Fishbone, take it away, my friend.
Thank you. Well, as usual, unfortunately, I mean, we've been starting out with some passings. That just, that's just where we are. People that we grew up with and have some ties to our generation. It's just they're older folks, and they're passing on.
Yeah.
We had Douglas Kramer. He was one of the most successful producers in television history in the 20th century, I should say. He produced Dynasty, which was, of course, a huge 80s phenomenon with evening soaps at the time. And one we just talked about recently with the passing of Gavin MacLeod, the Love Boat he produced. So Love Boat had two major players pass on. He was 89 years of age. So, rest in peace, Douglas Kramer. I didn't get a list of all the TV shows, but certainly just those two alone, those are two pretty significant shows in our time. So definitely it seemed like he had a great body of work. So rest in peace, Mr. Kramer. And Keith, we lost your video there, sir.
Oh, that was on purpose. I just put my plug back in. So
gotcha. All right, no problem. Another significant passing, 87 years of age, F. Lee Bailey. And F. Lee Bailey, you may know, was a member of the O.J. Simpson Dream Team, his defense team at the time. You had F. Lee Bailey, you had Johnny Cochran, you had a couple other guys. You also had the Kardashians' father was actually on that team as well. So that was the launch into maybe some of the. But that. Now he was kind of a character, this F. Lee Bailey guy, but
is
certainly
that an attorney name or what?
Yeah, really, no kidding.
F. Lee Bailey at law, yeah.
But certainly that was a phenomenon in our lifetime in the 90s. That was probably the launch of maybe several reality-type shows, certainly Courtroom. That was stuff that we really didn't see on television at the time. So huge media circus, big deal back then. That was like mid-90s range here. So I don't know. Thoughts on F. Lee Bailey? Thoughts on O.J. Simpson trial? Anything you guys want to touch on there?
Well, sort of we wouldn't have time to go into it, but if you ever get to watch the O.J. movie with Cuba Gooding Jr.,
that was very, very good.
It was really, really good. And one thing that I got out of it was you named all the attorneys. You forgot Marsha Clark.
Marsha Clark, yeah.
Yeah,
That was the name I was trying to remember.
It was interesting to see the unique role each of them played in that.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought that was very, very telling, especially Athlete Bailey. So if you get a chance to watch that,
yes,
do so. But
I agree.
Other than that, he was he was a character. I'll say that much about him. I thought they all were. That whole trial became so much of a media circus. It wasn't funny. It's funny what cameras could do to a person. They became celebrity-like, even in their, their interviews and all that stuff. They played to the cameras. Not saying it's good or bad, but certainly they knew that this trial was going to either make or break them, and they didn't miss a trick. So interesting stuff. Skinner?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't really say much more to that. Yeah, Athlete Bailey, he had a character, and unlike any of the other ones that were on that dream team. So, that trial, I still remember where I was the day that they announced, the findings that he was not guilty, and all the things that led up after that with him. And you're right, that was part of the court system that we had never seen before, other than in the movies. And we were watching the movies live.
Yeah.
And you've got all these court shows. I know I don't have cable, but I've got the antenna, and there are 2 or 3 court channels that you can get on just regular over the antenna nowadays. And even back then you couldn't find any of those. So it is interesting. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when I was talking about the characters they played, Bailey was a character. Johnny Cochran was the genius. You had Alan Dershowitz, I think the name he had named. Marsha Clark was out of her league.
Yes,
admittedly so. And then, of course, Kardashian, I think he brought a lot of money to the OJ's defense behind him. So he had a heck of a team put together. It was like putting together a football team, right? You play lineman, you play quarterback, you play this, that, whatever. Very unique strategy to have all these different lawyers playing this different role. And, of course, it worked.
Yeah,
they had all.
Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
They all had their own lanes, is what I was going to say.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Yeah, we could talk about that a lot longer, certainly, but that was quite the thing. And then another passing, Clarence Williams III, actor, 81 years of age, best known for, he was in Purple Rain. He played Prince's father in Purple Rain, kind of a smaller part in that movie, but he was on the Mod Squad television show, which I believe was a 1960s show. I'm not all that familiar with the Mod Squad. I'm sorry, ran until 1973. Yes, it was definitely Williams 68 to 73. There you go. So it lasted a few seasons. Now, was he? I don't really know, but I feel like was he one of the early African American action type stars on television? Certainly on television, right?
Without question. Yeah. One person a lot of people forget was Bill Cosby. He was an action star for a while.
Yes, that's right.
Definitely Clarence Williams was one of those. Right before the 70s, what they call the blaxploitation era. And you had the blaxploitation films. Of course, Cleveland Browns running back Jim Brown became part of that era. And I forget his name, the thick mustache. He was in From Dusk Till Dawn. It'll come to me in a minute. He was a former football player as well. But yeah, he was one of the first ones.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Okay, so rest in peace to our passings. Over the weekend as well, we had a very unusual boxing match. I think it was just this past weekend. So Floyd Mayweather.
Sunday night, wasn't it?
I think so. Floyd Mayweather came out of retirement again. So first he fought, McGregor, the MMA fighter. to. I mean, this guy, think about this guy, man. So he was 50-0 in his career, and he comes back in a couple of times and just, shoves a bunch of money in his pocket for these exhibition fights. I wonder if George Foreman's looking at some of this or whatever. But anyway, he fought. Who the heck did he fight? A YouTube celebrity, Logan Paul. I'm not familiar with. Maybe some of you young people are familiar with these guys here, but I guess the Paul brothers.
My lawn.
Yeah, the Paul brothers. I guess they have a huge following on YouTube, millions of followers, and they're known to kind of doing outlandish things and all this and that. So, yeah, this guy, give him credit. I guess he parlayed all the way up to a exhibition fight with arguably one of the greatest fighters, record-wise at least, in our lifetime, most certainly. And he lasted 8 rounds with him. Now, were they really... I didn't see it. I don't know, were they really fighting to... Who knows, right? But, he did last 8 rounds. He's a bigger man than Mayweather. He's a different weight class and all of that. But, yeah, so... I just think about, in our time, pay-per-view was a new thing at one point with Mike Tyson and all those guys going on pay-per-view, Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler and all that stuff. And now we have a guy that makes videos and fights for it probably made millions. I don't know what he made, but I don't know. Any thoughts on this? Is this something we're going to continue to see as far as these influencers and people?
Take this real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to go on record and say this. Nobody dislikes Floyd Mayweather more than I do. I really cannot stand this guy. Yeah. Secondly, I think it's just an insult, but I ain't mad at him. If somebody's going to pay to keep coming up with these pay-per-views for these ridiculous gimmick fights.
Sure.
They're ridiculous. They're stupid. But if somebody's going to pay for them, I ain't mad at them for making the money. You know, I'd be shocked. I don't know why anybody would. But I thought it was interesting. Of course, if you watch the news today, the Logan Paul comment at the end of the fight about the aliens is what's been making the news rounds more than the fight, if you didn't catch that.
What did he say?
He basically said the aliens are coming in June. They've been taking over. You got to pull up on YouTube. Very interesting.
See?
Yeah,
See?
I know when you said that.
This cryptocurrency stuff. See?
Yeah.
Yep.
Next exhibition match. Hulk Hogan versus the next upcoming TikToker.
Could be.
Mark that one.
Don't be. Yeah, it's crazy. It wouldn't. You know what? If we heard that right now, none of us would be like, "Oh my gosh!" We'd be like, "Yep,
yeah,
that's next." It was just fully expecting something like that to happen sooner or later.
I agree with you, Porter, on Mayweather. I can't stand the individual. I so badly want to see him get his face pounded in by somebody.
The only person I want to see get more pounded than him, which of course he does get pounded, is McGregor. But yeah,
right. I even voted for. I'm not a McGregor fan either, but I wanted to see him win that exhibition match. I've never seen a fighter that's proclaimed to be the best of all time run around a ring avoiding getting hit more than anybody I've ever seen in my entire life.
Under the guise of being a defensive magician.
No, he's running. He's backing off, and then he'll take his pot shots.
You out, man.
So when I saw, I'm like, who the hell is this Logan Paul? I'm not really big into boxing anymore like I used to, but I still know the names. I'm like, who the hell is this Logan Paul? When you said he was a YouTuber, it just went, wow, really?
Yeah.
What is this world coming to?
I know, right? And my dislike for McGregor doesn't even have anything to do with boxing, but what you were talking about, which was a great point. You know what? I just don't like this ignorant type of persona where you're holding up all your money. Look what I got. It's so stupid and trifling. You know what I'm saying? You watch a guy like Bill Gates, and this dude's got on, a pair of tennis shoes and a T-shirt. Steve Jobs was like that the same way, You have to flaunt your money. But these ignorant guys that never had nothing, they always feel like I seen pictures of him with bill money all over the table. That is just so ignorant to me. Like, stop it, dude.
Yeah, look at us. We're not flaunting our money around here.
Thank you. You'd never see me put all my money out.
I mean, we're wearing Tom and Jerry T-shirts, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I got a couple pennies over here behind me, but yeah, no, I remember that McGregor when he fought. I was like, my gosh, Lord, please let McGregor actually win a fight for once. He can lose all the rest of them if he ever comes back, but this one, let him win it. And
that was a hard one to call. I was just hoping like a sinkhole opened up in the bottom.
It took both of them.
Yep.
That's the only way I would have been satisfied. Go ahead, bitch.
Well, on better news than that, then I guess so. One of the iconic musical artists, certainly of our lifetime, and definitely while we were in high school, growing up, was Prince.
Yes.
Unfortunate loss, taken out too soon. But his estate is releasing a new album, unreleased material, coming out in July. So there's a new, never heard track that has just released. I haven't heard this yet. Welcome to America. He recorded this in 2010, and the song was Born to Die. So it's a slow-burning rhythm and blues throwback. So personally, I'm interested to hear unreleased Prince. Now, of course, some people argue that maybe he didn't release it for a reason. Maybe he didn't like it so much. I don't know. Who knows? But still, it's new music by Prince. Let's hear this. Interested. So what about you guys? Are you going to listen to the new Prince album? Are you excited for this at all? Keith, what do you think?
Well, without question, just for curiosity's sake, just hear what it sounds like. I don't certainly think it has anything to do with him not liking it, because from what I heard, there was hundreds, if not thousands, of unrecorded songs in his vault, or unreleased songs, I should say. When you're an artist like that, you just start stacking stuff up, kind of like Iron Man with all the different suits, the Mark 40, the Mark 50. You just start making them, you know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm really surprised it took this long to start capitalizing on his death, because that's what it is.
Sure.
Certainly the Michael Jackson estate has made more money since his passing.
Yeah.
Tupac, look how many albums this guy's released after he died. So, and of course, Elvis, that is a whole other ball of wax. So I'm surprised it took this long, but certainly I'll listen out of curiosity. Prince is one of those few people that when we first heard him back in the early 80s, you knew something was special about him, and he was going to be, something special.
Absolutely. Skinner?
Yeah, I'm a big Prince fan. Obviously, I it's sporting his Purple Rain T-shirt album cover the other day, or a couple episodes ago, rather. I apologize. But yeah, I've always been a big Prince fan. Ever since we were kids, loved Purple Rain. I even loved when he switched, the artist formerly known as Prince. I forget that album. It was a white cover album, but there wasn't a bad song on it. Again, I'm saying I love the album, and I can't remember the name, but yeah, I'm definitely going to look at it. I'm going to, or not look at it, but watch it. Curious to see what kind of music content it is. Is it going to be the retro?
Where was he at in his mindset when he wrote it?
Yeah, because you've got from what I remember, you've got 3 different phases of Prince, all very good in their own way, but very different as well. So I'll be curious to see what this one looks like.
Listen, anybody that's 5 feet tall, wears their hair in a bouffant, wears tight sequence pants, shakes their butt, does it in high heels, and wears purple, and still considered one of the world's greatest ladies' man, you got to respect that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that whole thing about him playing basketball, that was all true. There's that whole Dave Chappelle story. That's true. Yeah, he was definitely a talented and a huge fan of basketball. Okay, and then huge streaming show came out. A lot of hype around this one. Started on Disney Plus last evening. Loki. I have not seen it yet. Very interested in this. This ties into the multiverse, I guess, but a very unusual concept with Loki. Yeah, I guess he's like traveling through time and trying to set time correctly or something like that. I haven't seen it yet, Keith. Now, you said you watched it. What do you think of Loki, worth a watch? What do you think?
Okay, so let me be very careful without revealing too much. The synopsis you just said is not quite, sort of, okay. And it wasn't what I expected, but it was great to see him, one, humbled. He's up against power so much greater than his, and two, I love the multiverse because it just gives him so much freedom to explain this away, explain that away, tie this and that together, and that's what they did. They totally explained it. Opens up explaining what happened when the Endgame Avengers went back in time to get the Tesseract, and of course Hulk threw the door open. Stark dropped it, and while the other Stark's having a heart attack, Loki grabs it, boom, disappears. So it shows you where he goes and that whole timeline. But it does explain the timeline when he actually ends up in the Asgard prison. Okay, and the Dark Elves prisoners break out and his mother gets killed. So it totally explains that and brings it together. Totally awesome. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see where this goes because the first episode set up to what's about to happen. You know what he's supposed to do and so on and so on. But it was really good. Excellent.
Skinner, you going to watch it?
Oh, absolutely. Like I was telling you, I saw it yesterday morning on Disney Plus, and I was working at the time, so my employer wouldn't have liked very much for me to spend an hour of my day doing absolutely nothing idle while I'm watching Loki. So it's been pretty crazy around this house, as you guys know, for the last week or two, trying to get things done. So I hope to watch it tonight after we're done recording. If not, I'll definitely be watching it tomorrow night so we can talk about it with next week's show, because we'll have a show prior to the next airing, which is next Wednesday. So like we both, all three of us said with Falcon and Winter Soldier, it was an incredible series, and I'm almost confident that this one's going to be pretty much going to give us the same feeling. Quick story, I was talking to I went in the office for the first time since September on Tuesday, and my boss and his boss, after we had lunch, was sitting and talking, and they're asking have I watched any good movies lately, and I said no, but I says, have you guys seen Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier? And they both looked at me and they said, no, we haven't seen it. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Both of them are very big Marvel fans. They're like, yeah, we just haven't gotten around to it. And I was like, you guys have, if you plan on watching any future movies, you have to watch this series. And in respect, you're going to have to watch Loki, because they're going to open up so many other avenues. I said, you guys watched WandaVision, right? They're like, oh, yeah. I said, just like that opened up a whole new storyline.
Yeah.
These other ones are too. So I'm very excited to see this. I'm probably, like I said, probably going to watch it tonight, and I hope it gives us the same feeling like Falcon and Winter Soldier did.
And I got a hunch that it is just a hunch that Loki is going to be very, very important because it's actually dealing with timeline. That's all it's about. So
excellent. Yeah. Well, great content continues from Disney and Marvel. Keep it up. The kids in us love it. So keep it going. So
please do.
That's what I got.
They've done. Very proud.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Keith. We got about 20 minutes for music and sports, sir. What do you got?
All right. Well, guys, let's talk about a little bit of sports real quick. And just have one little caveat here in sports, because for those of you who have been living under a rock, a few days ago, the Los Angeles Lakers went out of the playoffs at the hands of the Denver Nuggets. And this is the first time LeBron's went out in the first round. And so I'm thinking about the average millennial, maybe a little bit younger, maybe 20 years of age. Go back 10 years, you started watching basketball. Usually around 10 years of age, you're paying attention and kind of know what's going on. You've seen LeBron in 8 out of the last 10 finals. That's pretty extraordinary.
He's the Tom Brady of basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great analogy. I would love to see what the impact on those kids in that era, as far as LeBron is on them, how they see him. Of course, we're a little biased here. He's from our hometown, but there's been a little bit tarnished on his image lately. I've never seen so much LeBron bashing, so many people rejoicing when he went out. I know some people are mad at him politically of the whole China thing, which I was disappointed in that too as well. And of course, there's some other things that's been going on we won't get into. But LeBron James, how do you think his legacy is going to unfold? And he's still going. But 8 out of 10 finals, Skinner.
8 out of 10. Like I said, he's the Tom Brady of basketball. It's kids like our sons, Steele and Michael. Not that he's not a big basketball fan, but when they think of basketball, that's all they know is LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. They don't know anything else. So it's pretty extraordinary what he's done over his career. Yeah, we all have a little bit of bias, like you said, being from our hometown. Had a bad taste in our mouth in 2010 when he left and went to Miami, but then they welcomed him, the King back to in 2000, what was that, 14 or 15 when he came back. And I think what he solidified his Cleveland legacy was when they won that championship against Golden State, coming back down 3-1, and he was a big part of that. So for his basketball career, he's in the conversation as one of the best, top 5, absolutely. Me personally, does he open his mouth at times using his platform to get out his point of view? Probably does it maybe a little too much at times. But we're also talking a kid who's been under the camera or at the camera since he was a sophomore in high school. Never seen him ever in the news for anything negative. Never been in trouble, never done anything stupid. The biggest thing we heard is that he may have been given a Hummer vehicle when he was in high school. That was the biggest controversy that we ever have heard out of LeBron James.
Yes. Yep.
So I have much respect for him as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as a basketball player, as a hometown. He is a hometown hero in the city of Akron.
Without question.
So I wish him the best. I don't wish any ill will on him. Yeah, there's a lot of bashers out there, like you said, but you're not going to see that from me.
All right. Fish?
Yeah, I mean, being around here, you never forgot where he came from, which for us around Northeast Ohio, that's pretty cool. I mean, he does continue to give back to the area and donate his time and money to this area, which is pretty cool. And like you said, without him, we would not have any sports championships in Northeast Ohio of any significance. Who knows?
Right.
It's certainly in our lifetime up to this point. For crying out loud, there's been nothing, so that was one of the most exciting sports moments of all, was when the Cavaliers won in 2016. But around that, I don't know. I mean, as far as his legacy, there will be some talk he played for teams for a while. The team kind of faltered a little bit. He jumped ship, went to another team where he could get other stars around him. That team began to falter. He jumped ship again. It's a kind of a pattern. It would not surprise me if he jumps from the Lakers at some point, because they're not looking like they have a lot of great talent around him.
Almost 40 years into the league?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It wouldn't shock me. I don't know if he's looking to do that.
They're strapped for cash, too.
Yeah, so I don't know. But certainly as far as raw talent and what he's been able to do to keep physically active and to continue to perform at the highest levels at his age is really a dedication to the sport and everything else. So overall, I'm a LeBron fan for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway.
I think if he jumps ship to another team, I think that would be so detrimental to his image.
He probably knows that, I'm guessing. It wouldn't shock me though. Yeah.
Okay, all right, great stuff. So just a little thing there. So let's get on to music, guys, because that's some serious stuff to talk about. First, I just want to talk about this day in music. A couple of very important notes. Number one, in 1978, number one song in the U.S. was "You're the One That I Want," one of the most famous song still today. One of the most popular songs used at karaoke bars all over the world. And John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John from, of course, the hit musical Grease, maybe the most popular of all time. I remember being a child watching this on Star Channel for the first time. Weren't any black people in it, but it sure did make an impact on me. And even to this day, one of my favorite shows. Will there ever be anything like Grease, or is there something that's comparable? Skinner?
I'm not sure, because Grease has stand the test of time. As we were kids, and even my kids, both most of my girls, they are huge Grease fans, even though they're born in the 90s.
It's
my
hard
girls,
to find something that every song was a hit, was a great song. Yeah.
Right. You know, Grease was one of those movies where whether you're male, female, black, white, purple, green, or blue, you're going to watch this movie and something is going to catch you, and you're going to relate to it. So yeah, it was a phenomenon then, and it's still a phenomenon today. Yeah. So
I'm sure that in our time, any female out there who's around late 40s to our age, early 50s, probably at one point or another envisioned themselves as Olivia Newton-John, whether they sang the songs or whatever it was. She was so popular, such a huge hit. Absolutely, just a different time back then. It's certainly been a good musical since that time, but it was just different. We weren't inundated with all the content, everything back then. It was just a different experience. So great stuff. Love Olivia Newton-John, and John Travolta actually sang pretty decent in that too. So yep.
Certainly, we had no idea his career would skyrocket as it did. The acting, superb, but the singing and dancing is what really pushed his career over.
Sure.
All his biggest movies had to do with him singing and or dancing. Saturday Night Fever, and the hit goes on and on and on. So, just
another one's Urban Cowboy back then in the early 80s.
Excellent, absolutely. Yeah, one of my favorite movies. Okay, so guys, let's move over to music. I'll stay with music. 2004, on this date, we lost a legend. Ray Charles died at 73 years of age. He was blind due to glaucoma. Wasn't born blind. A lot of people don't know that. Glaucoma caused him to lose his sight as a child. Didn't have a whole lot of number one hits. I think he had one or two. But you're talking about 17 Grammys and his impact on music everywhere. This guy was something else. Ray Charles fans, Fish?
Love Ray Charles. And it just, when you see someone like him and Stevie Wonder that can overcome their handicap and still create that type of sound on the piano, and just great voice. Loved his stuff, and also loved him in the movie Blues Brothers, which we brought up recently with Aretha Franklin. So great stuff. Definitely a Ray Charles fan. Skinner?
Yeah, I same thing. I'll just reiterate what I'd be copying you word for word, Fish. Loved Ray Charles. Loved what he stood for. Loved his music. Loved what he did for the handicapped and disabled folks, because he was somebody you look up to.
And
he didn't let his sight.
Jamie Lee Foxx nailed the performance, imitating Ray Charles in the movie Ray, and tragic life, the heroin usage, all the women issues, family issues. Hate to see all that, but it's real life. So, like you said in the pre-production, Skinner, wow, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but that's been quite a while. 2004. So we lost a legend. Okay, guys, here's my feature story for tonight. I'm scrolling through the TV last night, and I come across the CMT Awards, Country Music Awards. It's an award show where the fans vote. Something like the People's Choice in acting, or the I forget which music show is like that. But anyway,
MTV Music Awards.
I was only on there for about 10 minutes, and something struck me that maybe shouldn't have to have struck me, but it did. So we believe in just being upfront on this show. First of all, Kane Brown was co-hosting. In that 10 minutes, I saw a performance by a woman who goes by the name Her, which stands for I forget. I have to look it up again. Her real name is Gabriella Wilson. She's a black woman. She did a song with Chris Stapleton. Then I saw him say Gladys Knight was coming up. Then they said presentation, the award being presented by Anthony Mackie, one of our favorites, the Falcon, now Captain America. And I was just overwhelmed that in 10 minutes, I saw so many black people in the Country Music Awards. So I said, this is interesting. So I looked on my TV, saw it was coming back on later, and I hit record. I watched it today, and I was blown away. In addition to those, Michael Strahan also was a presenter on there. TV personality, former Super Bowl champion. You had who's the girl you named earlier today? No, but that doesn't count. That doesn't count. But anyway, the winners of song, the big award went to Underwood and John Legend, of all people. So I'm like, wait a minute, this is crazy. This is really unique. So the last few years, I've been noticing, a couple of years, that there's been this purpose push to put more black people into the Country Music Awards. They had a tribute to Lionel Richie a couple of years ago at one of the award show. And also last night, they have a special award on the CMT Awards called the Equal Play Award. And here's something I did not know. That award went to a black woman by the name of Linda Martell, the first and only black woman in country music in 1969. She arrived in Nashville. Back then, she went into the studio. I forget the producer's name, but he listened to her, recorded her that night, produced a record that night, and released it the next day.
That's amazing.
She is the first and only black woman to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. Can you imagine a black person in 1969 at the Grand Ole Opry? And you got to hear her story. You know, the N-words were flying all around. It's just terrible. But anyway, this is just a remarkable story. So then I did a little bit of research. It wasn't too long ago, in 2019, that an article came out about the inclusion of black people in country music. In just 2 years' time, we're seeing this different push. Of course, Little Nas hit big last year with the Old Town Road song on the country charts. But we had Mickey Guyton win earlier this year. Jimmy Allen, and he won New Bale Artist of the Year, first black person. So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, okay, this is great. This is awesome. This is what it's about. So here's a question that hit me. Why isn't there a problem about this? Of course, Darius Rucker's been around for a while. He's one of my favorites. Why is there no problem with this? But all of a sudden, we've got these issues with your Bruno Marses and your others who are being accused of cultural appropriation, a term I absolutely hate. Appropriating black music, black culture, black whatever to get over in the masses. Why aren't we accusing Darius Rucker of this? Why aren't we accusing Mickey Guyton of this? Blah, 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 blah. What is going on? What's the difference here? What's the problem? Skinner?
I truthfully don't have an answer for that question. That is a question I'd love to know the answer to. I love Darius Rucker. I like Cootie and the Blowfish. They have been a band that I've listened to for years. I've seen Darius Rucker in concert, and he's fantastic. You were talking about Jimmy Allen. He performed just the other night. We were talking in pre-production, the Kennedy Honor Awards, Garth Brooks was one of the 5 that was nominated for the award, and he sung. I want to say it was he sung "Friends in Low Places," and it was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see that. Never seen that before.
Right.
Kane Brown. He's the MC for the award show.
Right.
I mean, we want to say it's been a long time coming, but when we watched that, and I did see some of the highlights, it was all natural. Country music. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's supposed to. Now, let me be fair here, because first of all, I started paying attention to it today, and I'm like, wait a minute. It seems that this cultural appropriation allegations only are going on certain people. And that's what I figured out. In my opinion, there's people who want to cause trouble, who want to cause separation, are barking this stuff. Because I started to thought about it. I said, wait a minute. I don't hear this on Justin Timberlake.
And you know where it comes back to? And maybe this is the answer to your question?
What?
Media spin.
Just might be. Just might be. Fish?
I just think it's cool. I mean, it's just any music genre that's welcoming to just simply, if you're talented, you respect
everybody.
You respect the music. Come on in, sing, and it's nice for the country fans as well. So I just think it's cool, and in some respects, it's positive progress. I don't know why it's the other way around, as far as the types of
no fear that it's going to tank country music or anything like that.
It seems like rock music's been sort of that way too. It seems like that's always been welcoming. If you could play, if you could sing, we don't really care what color you are. Just come on in.
I like country music would be an insult to myself. I love music, and that includes country. That includes this. That includes that. You guys know my story growing up playing in rock and rock bands and heavy metal bands. So I have an appreciation for everything. I play drums for an awesome rapper by the name of Des DeReason. I've done his concerts. I just appreciate music. And I think right now, if we don't get a hold of ourselves and stop this labeling and stop looking at what people look like. I listened to this Linda Martell. Her voice was beautiful. Sounded like Patsy Cline, that country voice. And it's the same how she got buried. The label had to bury her. She played the Grand Ole Opry. I never heard of her till today. That's shameful. And you said it, Skinner. Only the media can do that. And that's where it comes from.
I got a question for you guys. Did you happen to listen to that video that I sent through our communication? It's called a song called Undivided.
I didn't see that.
Nope. I sent it to you. Its song is called Undivided. It's a country song that's out on the radio right now from Tim McGraw and a guy by the name of Tyler Hubbard, who's one of the Florida Georgia Line guys.
Yeah.
Look it up on YouTube.
Check it out.
And do the lyric part of it. It talks about Undivided. It's an incredible song. You can also go onto my personal Facebook page. I've got it posted there. Everybody should listen to this song because I get goosebumps every time I hear it.
In this day and age, we need to focus on loving one another, appreciate one another, not acting like we're all the same, because we're not. Let's enjoy the differences. Let's celebrate the differences. Let's learn about the differences and move on as a people. With that being said, take us out, Skinner.
Well, yeah, this is, I guess we are up against it, aren't we? Boy, that hour just flew by.
Yes,
Fish, why didn't you tell us we were up against it?
I've been watching.
Yeah,
we're right there.
We're right there. Well, this had some content just like last week, fellas. I'm so appreciative of you two. Can't wait for our third Musketeer or our fourth Musketeer Coop to join us on these topics. It seems like we're getting better and better every week. And I don't want to toot our horns, but very good stories. You brought it this week once again.
I want to say a shout out to the beautiful ladies who, without them, Allie, to Marcy, to Mary Beth, and even though, like you said, he's not here, but the awesome Amy Cooper. The ladies, we love you. You're absolutely awesome. I want to thank my sister Pam, who gave us one of the best compliments ever. She said,
she sure did.
And I learned so much. So thank you a lot, Pam, for listening and making that comment.
So for Michael Skinner, Brian Fisher, and Keith Porter, we are the guys from Generation X. It came from Gen X. We bid you farewell and hope to see you guys next week.
It came from GenX on Facebook.
Peace. And